We used to play in America so much. We've not been in America for like 15 years. The last time I was in America, Obama was the president. So that's like, it was a long time ago, right? There's this live at Schubert's Art Brut record that we don't own because we've drunkenly signed a contract in Schubert's. And
Yeah.
he stopped recording completely and said, "Are you okay? Do you want some water or something?" I was like, no, this is my singing voice. We did Jimmy Kimmel. They had big pictures of us hanging from the ceiling and they didn't get the memo that we had a new guitar player. So Jasper had to play underneath a picture of Christian Chiller, which was funny.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Hero's Journey. Today, I'm joined by Eddie Argos from Art Brut. How are you doing
Hello.
today?
Yeah, good. That's me. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good, thanks.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
yeah,
So,
I've been
sorry,
painting all
I
day, so
left
I've
too
been,
much of a space between the "How are you doing?" That's usually
that's
like
all right. I was about to
really
say
smooth
I've been
flow.
paint I've been painting all day at this desk, and I've just done it. I'm really worried about getting paint on myself. I immediately put paint on my trousers, but it's okay.
All right.
I'm my best.
Yeah, yeah. Just be careful the rest of the interview.
Yeah, I just won't move. I just put this paper out flat, so I'm not getting any more paint. Good. Hello. There we go.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Well, so I want to get into when I've been doing this podcast recently, I used to write intros for the guests, kind of give some background to who they are. And then I found it better to also just ask the guests, like, if someone doesn't know Art Brew, hasn't heard your music, how would you describe what you do and the music that you make?
Oh, how do I describe the music that we make? Actually, on stage, I describe it as shouty, talky indie.
Okay.
That's probably yeah, a shouty, talky indie. So I guess that's what we are. I mean, we've been around for a long time. We're like,
Yeah.
I mean, our debut album came out 20 years ago. We formed in 2002, in the 2002. So we've been around for a long time. Um, People used to ask us all the time, like, "Oh, how do you describe your music?" And I could never really figure it out. And we had a sound guy once when we were crossing a border, and we got asked that question, and he said, "Oh, they're like post-punk mixed with classic rock." I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's it. That's what we are. We're like a post-punk band mixed with classic rock." And I don't really sing. I think that's how I would describe our music. And it's
Hmm.
very autobiographical, I would say, with a little bit of humor in there too.
Yeah. I like it. The post-punk classic rock is like the technical term. That's like what it really is. But I just like shouty, talky indie rock, which is, I mean, such a good description of what I was hearing when I took a listen to some of your music. Yeah. So well, let's get into the main reason we connected and had you on here
Yeah.
is 20th anniversary of Bang Bang Rock
Oh,
album. Um,
ah.
just tell me about, like, thinking back or looking back on the 20 years since that album, or kind of how what made you want to eventize or like remember this album.
Well, I mean, it's our first record. I think it's quite exciting.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think for lots of bands playing we've never done it really. Lots of bands play albums in full and stuff like that, and I've always kind of resisted it a little bit. And then we got asked to do it in London and in Germany. And then I realized that we could do it how we want, really. We don't have to. I mean, we played the album in full, but I mean, that album lasts about 33 minutes, I think, on record. And we were playing it for like an hour and a half when we were playing it. I mean, because modern art's a bit longer now, and My Little Brother's longer, and there's talking and there's extra bits in all the songs. So I think just the idea of being able to play around with it like that, because so many of the stories are true, like my brother's real and Emily Kane's real. I did form a band. I do love modern art. So it's quite, it just feels nice to revisit, I mean, myself a bit or something. It feels nice to like look at that time of my life and then update it and change it and play around with the format and stuff. So yeah, and we did it in England and we did it in Germany, and it was so much fun. And I thought, is it possible? We used to play in America so much. And then so we sort of looked into we could do it, and it looks like it's worked out. So yeah, I'm excited to bring it. We've not been in America for like 15 years. I think last time I was in America, Obama was the president. So that's like it was a long time ago, right? Yeah, I used to live in Los Angeles, so I'm quite excited to go back there as well. So it's just but yeah, it's just playing around with the. It's just fun to play that record and to change it and to update it and stuff. So yeah, it was an experiment that went well, and I want to take it everywhere I can, basically.
Yeah, awesome. And I mean, you also have the huge compilation, like 5 CD box set
Yeah.
with Demon Records. How is what gave you that idea for like a big CD box set?
Well, yeah, well, they approached us and they said, "Have you got
Oh,
anything?
awesome.
Would you like to do this?" And yeah, yeah. Originally, it was going to be one big box. I'm like, that's a lot. 10 CDs. Let's do it in two. Let's do it in two stages. And but I think part of that also is what made me like the idea of playing that first record in full. I went through so many sort of memories. I went through everything. I went through old hard drives. I went through like photo albums and lots of different things. And they kind of gave me like a pang of nostalgia. And I thought, oh yeah, and it's just let's play it all in full. And some of those songs we hadn't until we started playing them in their entirety, the album in its entirety. I don't think we'd ever played Stand Down live before, so it's quite nice to like we seldom play Fight, so it's quite nice to do all that. Yeah, and the box sets were great. What was nice for me with the box sets is the stuff that I didn't put on there. I think it's everything we've ever written or recorded. It's like band practices and stuff in there and lots of different things. But the bits I didn't put in is like us talking in between, like hearing a rehearsal from 20 years ago and hearing us all bullying Jasper or like making these jokes, and it was just very sweet to hear this, for
Yeah.
me. So I've got my own box set of just the bits in between the songs where everyone's just talking and having fun. So yeah, and it was really nice to compile those box sets and just go through everything. And there's so many songs that we hadn't, there's like 5 or 6 songs that have never been out, so it's quite nice to release them.
Yeah, yeah. And so like is that as you're going through all these songs trying to put together these CDs, is that bringing up different memories from like basically throughout your career and giving you a cool retrospective? Does it feel like work at all or more like a trip down memory lane? Like
It was
to
definitely work because it was just me doing it. So like,
Mhm.
and I had to go through lots of boxes and things, but it felt good in a way because I had so many boxes of like old demos and CDs and photos, and now we've turned them into like a box set. I can put those things away. I mean, they don't need to be. I can put them. I don't need them anymore because it's all on streaming services and in box sets now. That was quite nice. It was a trip down memory lane. The different guitarists and things and people. Yeah, I mean. What's weird with us is our first ever demo formed a band became a single and rough trade. So it really is like the entire history of the band. It's like the very first thing we ever recorded became our single, and it's the first thing on the box set. Yeah, and the last thing on the box set is something from a few years ago. So it's if you like Art Brut, it's literally every single thing you could possibly. There's nothing left. There's no more secret songs anywhere. This is absolutely everything. Actually, the only thing we couldn't put on the record is about 20 years ago, the first time we played in Chicago, after the show, some people come up to us and said they recorded it live and could they release it? I'm like, oh, I don't know. And then they asked us to sign something. And because we were drunk, we signed it. And so there's this live at Schubert's Art Brut record that we don't own. So because we've drunkenly signed a contract in Schubert's. And we tried to get it because I mean they pay us royalties from it and stuff. We tried to find out who owns that record so we could put it in the box set, but we can't track them down. A mysterious person in Chicago owns that record. So the only thing that's
Yeah.
not on in that box set is this live from Schubert's record that somebody tricked us into signing away when we were drunk 20 years ago.
Definitely not suspicious at all to make you sign something after a show. You know,
Yeah,
that's
well,
completely
it was our
normal.
first, yeah, it was our first trip to America, and we thought we'd never come back, even though we came back a lot. And yeah, and they were like, oh, it was like because it's the time difference, they're like,
Yeah,
oh, we need to know now. We need to check with our manager. And they're like, no, 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 just sign it, and we can cancel it if you don't like it. And then never saw them again. And then there's this live
of
album that
course.
exists that we've got nothing to do with. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then now for this upcoming tour, you're coming back to the US
Mhm.
again.
Yeah.
So and I know you've toured like all over the place. How do you um see like a live setting versus recording an album and being in the studio?
Yeah, for me, I love I improvise so much with the songs and change things around and stuff. So I love playing live the most, really. If we could just always play live and record everything live, that'd be my dream, really. Even now, when we go in the studio for the last couple of records, I don't like to sing more than 1 or 2 takes because I think it takes the sincerity away from what I'm saying. So we do almost record. as if we're playing live, which is quite nice.
That's
So it's
awesome.
yeah, I mean, that's the way I like it. I want it to be. I'd love to if we just write the songs, go and record them, and then it's done. Now that would be, and then I can change them live. So yeah. I mean, playing live is my favorite. I like the human interaction, I think. Um, but yeah, but also I love making records. You need to make the records to go and do the show and off live, right? So
Yeah,
it's a yeah,
exactly.
it's kind of we've been working. I've been working on some songs. I'm just so slow. I think also because our songs are so autobiographical, they take a bit longer because things have to happen to me for me to write them. But we've got
Yeah,
about 10 or 11 new songs. Hopefully, we'll play some live on this tour. That's kind of the
cool.
plan.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. And so then also I was listening obviously to some of the older stuff, things included in this box set and just getting a real like career overview of Art Brut, but then
Mhm.
also just the latest EP with Biz. Sorry about that. Is like any of that gonna be played live or just what's like what do you see
Um,
as like the use case or the future of that EP?
that EP, well, I think that was that EP came out so late. So I love the Glasgow scene, like the Yummy Fur and Biss and all this kind of stuff. And
Mhm.
we played a show with Biss. Who I love. They're this band from Glasgow that I love. We played a show with them nearly 2 years ago, and the plan was to release that record when the day of the show, and it just took so long to. That's why it's called Sorry About That because we kept emailing people. Sorry, I know you ordered it a while ago. Sorry about that, and that's why it's called the Sorry About That EP. Is because it took a year and a half to release. But I mean, I love collaborating. I mean, I've collaborated with We Are Scientists as well. I like doing things like that. And I mean, Biss are one of my favorite ever bands. I mean, I collect Biss 7 inches. And the fact that now we are a Biss 7 inches sort of made my day. And I really kind of orchestrate that because I have my own podcast called Formed a Band where we talk about people forming bands. And
Awesome.
Biss were the first guests. And on that, they were like, "Oh, it's our 30th anniversary." And I was like, "Oh, it's our 20th." I kind of like use my podcast to manipulate them into one, let me play the show with them, and then two, recording this record. And I've always wanted to cover Mama Cass's "You Got to Make Your Own Kind of Music," so it was a good excuse for that as well. And I think bands like us and Biss, we do make our own kind of music. We've forged our own path. So that song felt very good to cover with them.
Yeah. Awesome. And I think it's one collaboration's a huge thing. I've talked to so many people on here just talking about a love of collaboration, a love of especially I'm like more on the production side of music and I kind of
Mhm.
like need collaborators to exist. Like I can make the music everything, but I can't really sing that well. So then I need someone to hand it
Bring
off
people
to
in.
and do that. But I want to get into part of like what really drew me to your music and your band is the first song I heard was Formed a Band, and it's so like I was listening to it and I was like, he's barely even singing. Like it's very straightforward, like talk essentially like just talking over music. Um, and so, like, was that, well, first, lyrically, because it's so, like you said, autobiographical, was it fast to write, easy to know what you're gonna say? And then for like stylistically, what makes you want to stick to that kind of vocalizing?
Okay. So first of all, like I've wanted to be in a band forever. Like I can't remember a time where I didn't want to be in a band. And I tried lots of instruments. I tried to learn the guitar, I couldn't do it. I tried to learn the bass, I couldn't do it. At school, I tried to learn the euphonium. It's like a big brass instrument, couldn't do
Yeah.
it. So I've just a lot of time in my childhood and my teenage years trying to be in a band. And then at some point, I realized I was listening to like Lou Reed and Bob Dylan. I was like, well, those guys can't sing. And they're the singers, so I can just be the singer. And it doesn't matter how I sing, it can be my style. So I know on Formula Band it does sound like I'm talking, but in my head it doesn't sound like that. I really thought I was singing just badly, I didn't think I was just speaking.
Yeah.
So I thought I was a singer. And then when we started getting reviews and it was like anti-rap and this guy's just talking, I was like, oh, okay. I really thought I was singing. Yeah, but for the lyrics, it was well, we've been a band for a while, and I've been kind of shy, like sneaking around and not really enunciating. I had the chorus of Formed a Band, basically, and the verses would kind of change, or do a speech or sort of say something. Because the first time we ever played it, actually, it was like a speech. We were in a rehearsal space for the first time where we could hear each other. And I thought, oh, this is my moment because they're going to hear what I really sound like when I sing. So I better make a big kind of impassioned speech to make sure that they don't leave or like fire me or something. So I sort of I listed all the things I thought the band could achieve, and it would change every time we played live. Actually, I was always playing around and improvising with it. And then we went to record it with this guy called Keith Top of the Pops, and the line in the song, and yes, this is my singing voice. That's because in the first take of the song, I was singing. I thought I was singing, and
Yeah.
he stopped the recording completely and said, "Are you okay? Do you want some water or something?" I was like, "No, no, this is my singing voice." And then when we started the song again, I made that lyric up, which is great because I didn't have enough lyrics to fill
That's
the song up. So yeah, I mean
that's
that's what
awesome.
I like about Form the Band is that it's not only like the first thing we ever recorded. It's like I can hear myself on the first Rough Trade version. I can hear myself writing the words. I can hear the lyrics popping in my head and stuff. So it's quite exciting. And that guy Keith, Top of the Pops, that recorded that, like he became our best friend. We didn't know him until that recording. It's the first thing he recorded and our first ever recording. And I lived with him for years. We became best friends. So it's kind of like it feels very magic to me that Form the Band single
That's
that came out.
awesome. Yeah. It is a very interesting gray area. I'll give you that because it is singing. And it's not, what we're doing now is talking, and this is not what's
Yeah,
on the record. So there's some level of singing, but it's not, so variously up and down like a lot of pop music. It's
yeah.
not
It's okay. I
as
know I'm talking. At this point, I've accepted it. I'm shouting and I'm talking. It's okay. I just do it a bit slower and in rhythm.
yeah,
Because I meet
exactly.
people all the time and they go, "Oh, it really is your singing voice." I go, "Yeah, it is my singing voice. I do talk like I sing. It's okay."
Yeah. But I mean, like there are actual tracks I've heard where it's literally sometimes even disjointed. It's just like an instrumental and then like a recording of a conversation over it or just straight up talking. And so that's like the extreme of it. But
Okay.
you're a bit more musical than
Slightly,
that.
I'm slightly more
But
musical than a conversation. That's good.
but you're like you said in that song, you're singing about all these things the band can achieve, being on
Mhm.
top of the pops, things like that. And one of the things you said is writing a song as big as Happy Birthday. Do
Mhm.
you think you'll ever write a song as big as Happy Birthday?
Right, it's universal happy birthday, but everyone likes it. Yeah, why not? Big, dream
Yeah,
big. I think maybe you're my deathbed or something. No, I don't know. It's nice. I don't want to say no because it's nice to think there is a possibility that we can write a
yeah,
song. It's
definitely.
universal's happy birthday. It exists. So it's let's
And
see.
when you
Yeah.
think of like massive pop songs nowadays,
Mhm.
it's kind of the same thing where like everyone knows it, everyone's heard it on whether
Yeah.
it's radio or their friend playing it. So like there are definitely songs that have gotten to, be almost as
Universal.
universal as Happy Birthday.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, ideally, Formed a Band would have been that song, but it didn't work out.
hey,
So,
there's always a chance. you
yeah,
know,
right.
I
Yeah,
keep
let's
hearing
see.
all these stories of artists where they're like, oh yeah, this song flopped and then, TikTok brought it back or whatever it is, and then now it's
Yeah,
blowing up out of
it's
nowhere
true.
for
Maybe
10
happens.
years after it came out.
Maybe we get like a slow dive kind of renaissance. That would be good.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. So also, I mean, kind of back to performing in America, you had a pretty big
Mhm.
moment performing Direct Hit on Late Night with Conan O'Brien.
Mhm.
D- Insane like experience, especially for any band, but I'm sure a band like trying to come over to America or make it in America. What was that experience like?
Yeah, it was nice. I mean, we did Jimmy Kimmel as well. We did them
Awesome.
both, which was kind of yeah, super exciting. Jimmy Kimmel was it was our first time in America, I think, and we were really nervous for that one. I think, because and they had big pictures of us hanging from the ceiling above our heads when we were playing, and they didn't get the memo that we had a new guitar player. So Jasper had to play underneath a picture of Christian Chiller, which was funny. But that one was more nervous, I think, because it was just early and exciting. But I mean, also, I mean, playing on Conan was amazing and really exciting. I love Conan O'Brien too. Like I was watching his show like illegally a bit, maybe in the UK and stuff. So I knew who he was. Yeah, he wrote, The Simpsons, and he wrote Does It Look Well and all that kind of stuff. I love it. So I was quite excited about that. And then what was really exciting about the time we went on Conan was that Daniel Radcliffe was there, like
Oh
the Harry
wow.
Potter actor.
Yeah.
And he came over to us and was like, "Oh, I'm a really big Art Brut fan," and was telling us about how he'd been to see us at Reading because we wanted to say hello to him, but we were shy, you know. And then he came to us and was like telling us, you know, he'd seen us at Reading. He goes to gigs in disguise and stuff, and yeah, it was nice. He told me that he likes us and the Steady at the time were like his two favorite bands. And then like about a year later, I saw him on Conan again, and he was on with the Steady, and he was delighted about that. So it was nice for Daniel Radcliffe to always get to go on Conan with his favorite bands. But the
Yeah.
yeah, it was great going on Conan, and it's back in the day though before these things were put on the internet really. So like I go back to England and people wouldn't believe me. It's like, oh, I was just in America. I was on, you know, Jimmy
Yeah.
Kimmel and Conan O'Brien. And I think also because they're unusual, our music is a bit unusual. To me, it feels like it doesn't feel like the sort of thing that should be on those shows. So it feels quite nice that we broke through and did that.
Yeah. It feels like something new and refreshing to the shows. It's not, I mean, nothing against pop music, but it's not
Mhm.
pop artist number 57 going on for like
Mhm.
another four on the floor track that sounds the same as last week's. Like it's
Yeah.
very unique. And there's something special to it.
What a
Um,
nice opportunity. Well, whoever's booking that show was great, you know, they put on loads of
yeah.
great bands. So it's nice
I
for them
mean
to be.
that also must have helped with Daniel Radcliffe. I'm someone who like is definitely hesitant about going up to talk to anybody in like a social setting, a public setting, and so it's hopefully it helped that it's like reciprocated and he knows you as well
Yeah,
and
it
was like
always.
I'm such a big fan of you guys. Like it takes some of that pressure off to be like, oh, I'm talking to this like famous actor.
And he like, yeah, it was really, really nice actually. Because we wanted to say hello to him, obviously. And then he
Hmm.
was such a nice laugh and a good guy to chat with. It was like, yeah, it made me feel a lot more at ease actually. I think you're probably right. I think, like, oh, he likes us. It's not so strange that we're here. Let's let's go and play it. My favorite thing about playing on Conan was because Conan O'Brien, I think he collects guitars, or he's very interested in like old guitars.
Hmm.
And he came up to Jasper. You can see it in the video at the end. And he's saying to Jasper, "Oh, like what sort of guitar do you play?" And Jasper's going, "I don't know." Like Jasper doesn't even know what
Whatever
guitar he's
guitar is
playing.
handed to me.
Yeah, yeah, whatever. I think it was my dad's. He's
Yeah.
like that. So Conan's like, oh, okay. So it's funny for me that Jasper didn't even didn't even know what the guitar was that he was playing. So yeah, but it
Yeah.
was yeah, I mean it was amazing yeah, going on Conan. And it did feel really, exciting to be in that building and stuff. It was cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you a music artist looking to get your songs on Spotify, Apple Music, and basically every other streaming platform? Then you should check out DistroKid. DistroKid is a music distribution service. It's what I use to get all my music out across platforms, and I find it really helpful. You can manage your songs, lyrics, credits, and even manage releases across artists under one account. I don't think I would have gotten started as early as I did with music if it weren't for DistroKid. So if you want to get started, I'll put their pricing on the screen here. And yes, that does say the cheapest plan is at $2 a month. I know some of you spend more than that every day on your coffees. Like this is to get your music heard by the world. But we're getting off track. DistroKid has so many additional features like pre-save pages, getting your music onto platforms like Instagram and TikTok, where people can put your music on their posts. If you use my link in the description, you will get 7% off any of these plans, making it even cheaper to get your career started, and so much more. So, again, check out my link in the description for 7% off any plan. And now let's get back to the episode. Building from there, Direct Hit was put in the FIFA '08 soundtrack, but then
Yeah.
I was reading more about it and I'm hearing about how you're offline and all this stuff, and you didn't really take note that it was getting bigger until Chris Moyles played it on air or sang it on
Yeah.
air, and that was like that was the big deal to you versus the FIFA '08
Oh yeah,
soundtrack.
I did. Oh yeah, even now I think that's yeah. But to me, yeah, people were like messaging me like, "Oh, yeah, this guy's singing your song on the radio." Da, 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 da. And it's yeah, and it's yeah, that impressed me. Yeah, I didn't yeah, people now still tell me that they know that song from FIFA 2008 or whatever it is. When we play it live, sometimes I introduce it as this is from our album FIFA Soccer 2008 because that's where people know it from. But the so yeah, yeah, that was a nice surprise. Yeah, our
Yeah.
music ends up in some strange places. There's this TV show that I love actually called The Good Wife, and they ended up
Mm.
they played our music in that, but it wasn't just that they it wasn't in the background that they played it. Like the couple, Alicia Florrick and uh, they put the CD on in the TV show, and we're like, because their son's CD and they're in bed listening to that, and that was like because I don't play
That's
computer
cool.
games, but I do watch a lot of American drama. It was I mean also I love that show so much, and I had to sign off on it being in the TV show, and it was a massive spoiler for me. It's like, oh, what? I didn't need to know that. That's they get back together for a second. Oh, what? So it's
Like, guys, you could have just told me we want this song in it, and I would have said
yeah,
yes, no matter
yeah. I
what
said yes.
situation.
Yeah,
Like, you
whatever
don't
you
have.
like. Yeah, Eddie loves the Good Wife. He's going to say yes. Please put it in the Good Fight and Elspeth as well. But yeah. So that's
And so funny.
yeah. Our songs pop up in funny places. So
Yeah.
I like that.
Well, it was interesting to me that you were so offline, like not owning a computer or anything. So are you still kind of mostly offline like that, or have you integrated with it
Um,
more now?
I've
So
integrated, yeah. It was more to do with poverty. It wasn't like I wasn't like a strict. I wasn't a Luddite or
it
anything.
wasn't a
I just
hipster move of being
it
like,
wasn't a
no,
hipster move. No, I'd have
I'm
loved to have
all.
been on the internet. Yeah, I just wasn't. I just couldn't afford a laptop. I used to have to go. I was doing a lot of interviews for like American blogs at the time, and I would have to go. I lived in Kilburn, and I'd have to go to the McDonald's on the high street. And for £2 or a pound, you got like an hour's worth of internet. So I'd like go with a pound and I'd buy like a Coke and I'd do all my interviews in the McDonald's on Kilburn High Street. I would have loved the laptop. I wasn't intentionally staying offline.
Yeah.
I just couldn't afford one.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I mean, glad that you're
I mean,
accessing the internet now and and part of it
yeah,
and able to do interviews like this without paying a pound. So
I'm not sat in the McDonald's in Berlin.
yeah. This would probably be one of the nicer McDonald's I've seen if it had all this
It's
art
nice.
hanging up in
Yeah,
these
yeah,
shelves.
yeah. Big
Yeah.
parts of the box, yeah.
That's awesome. And then one more music thing I want to get into because I mean there was so much I was learning about and reading about with you guys from books and paintings and all that. But one more music question is just tell me about making fixing the charts with your side project. Everybody was in the French Resistance now.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody was in the French Resistance now. I lived in Los Angeles. That was with my girlfriend at the time, and we were driving back from I think her parents in San Francisco. Maybe it was Thanksgiving, and I was getting really angry about the song "Hey, It's Jimmy Mac." I was like, she's not cool, man. Like, it's making him jealous. I was getting really angry about it, and then Diane, my girlfriend at the time, was saying, "Well, you should just write a song about it then." I think maybe just to shut me up. And I was like, okay, I will. And then out of that, it kind of evolved into her like, no, no, we should write a song together. And then she sort of, between us, we had this idea of like, it was quite a long drive back of like thinking of all the songs we could reply to. And
Yeah.
she had a history teacher at school that spoke about like the past, as in, well, yeah, everybody was in the French Resistance now. It just seemed like such a nice way of describing looking at history. So we took
Yeah.
the name, and then our friend Dave Newton, I love him. He lives in Los Angeles. He was in that band, the Mighty Lemon Drops, and he records bands, and I just like him. We have very similar taste in music. Um,
Hmm.
he's introduced me to loads of really good bands, and I just really wanted to work with him, and it seemed like a really good opportunity for us to work with him. So actually, he has a house out in the desert in Pioneer Town. But before that, it was in Joshua Tree. And me and Diane and him, we recorded that Everybody Was in the French Resistance Now album out in the desert, like literally outside in the desert
Wow.
in Joshua Tree. Doesn't really sound like it. It's not that kind of album, I don't think. But
Yeah.
for us, it was so cool to be like, yeah, night under the stars singing Hey, it's Jimmy Mac and
Yeah. No,
Don't Think
that's
Twice, It's
awesome.
Not All Right. So yeah, and it's people often, yeah, it's funny. Like, I mean, we broke up because we don't really know each other anymore. But
Hmm.
so it's giving me no volume too. But that's something that happens. But yeah, it was real fun. And touring it was great because it sort of became more like a lecture or something. It ended up being a lot of talking in between the songs about the stories,
Yeah.
and it became like a show, the three of us.
I think that's really cool. I love, hearing about stories or backgrounds to songs, the meaning,
Mm.
how they came about, anything. So that's awesome. And I like when I was hearing about this kind of catalyst of being annoyed with the songs that are topping the charts, being annoyed with just pop music in general. I totally get it because there's like, especially nowadays, it feels like, whoever the biggest artists are, any song they put out is at the top of the charts for half the year, and then it'll
Mhm.
just cycle through whoever's at the top and everything. And a band that I like, which I don't know, if you don't know them, you would probably like them as well. They also have a very conversational lyric style of just being very honest. But AJR, who are like a pop group, they do a bunch of really cool production stuff. They have a song, I think it's in 3:30, talking about how a lot of songs nowadays should be around like 3 minutes 30 seconds. But they have like a lyric in the chorus of it that's like, oh, if Ed Sheeran writes my songs, will it finally top the charts? And it's like, you can have great music and maybe no one hears it, but then like you just attach a big name to it, boom, it's top of
Up
the
we go.
charts. Like it's gonna get up there.
Oh, so what they're called HAR. I'll have to go and have a listen. I don't know that. I think Cheekface have a song that's similar to that, but yeah, is it HAR they're called? I'll check them
Yeah,
out.
yeah, AJR is their initials of it's three
Uh,
brothers in the band, and so
wow,
yeah, uh,
good. I'll go and check
yeah,
it out.
yeah, I can send it to you after this.
Yeah.
But yeah, for other ventures, other forms of media, you seem to have a love for books. I think you've of maybe of artists and bands that I know. I think you have more books than I've seen, but you put out a brilliant tragic comic book, an Art Brut
Uh,
lyric book, a memoir about forming the band. What about literature or books draws you to that?
all the things I do really like. I paint a lot and I write books and things. I think it's because the artists that I like do that. I just thought it's
Mhm,
what you do. So like Billy Childish, Jad Fair, Vessel from David Devon. They all paint, they all make art and make books. And I thought I'm a cult figure like them. I may as well just start painting and writing. I mean, also like, it's nice to, you know, I don't know. My friend Ezra Furman was teasing me about it and saying, "Well, someone's got to write all that stuff about you. It may as well be you." So it's like, it's quite funny. Yeah. So I don't know.
mhm,
I think it's just I like maybe I overthink everything. I mean, I wrote a musical too, right, with my another ex-girlfriend about about holiday we went on and stuff and our relationship. So I think I just like examining my life because a
yeah,
lot of my paintings are about things that I've imagined or have happened to me. I don't know. I think it's like therapy for me, really, writing and painting and being in a band.
mhm,
Um, I love making art. I spent all
yeah,
Sunday today, all day painting. So it's yeah. I mean, I'd be doing it anyway, even if people weren't listening to it or reading it. I would still be making it, I think.
yeah.
Don't know what I
Well,
think that's it. I think it's just that. I like it. I mean, all the bands, yeah, like Billy Childish and Jad Fair. I'm drawn to artists like that. Jim Bob, this guy from Van Carter that I really like. He wrote memoirs and things and like novels. I like it. I don't. Art all crosses over, right? It's all
yeah,
it's sort of the
absolutely.
same thing.
There's
I'm writing a book at the moment, actually, a new book.
a uh, a rap artist that I like. He's put out a couple more books, Logic. He has one that's I haven't read it, so I hope this is right. But it's like a fictional or based on true story like book, and then he released an album under the same name that's meant to like accompany the book and
Oh
like
wow.
be like different parts of it. And then he recently, well, actually it was like years ago now, but more recently put out an album about like growing up or like very first like very beginning of his music career in the hometown that he grew up in, and then released a comic book of like that story, and because the
Nice.
album's telling the story also, so it's very cool. I read the comic book one and that was super cool, and even like the actual songs have skits in them or different like acted out things,
Nice.
so it's
Logic.
it's yeah,
I'll check it out. I mean,
yeah.
there's a guy I like called Jeffrey Lewis. Do you know Jeffrey Lewis? He was like
No,
anti-folk, I think they called it. He's great. He writes comics and he's a singer-songwriter, kind of. He has a band actually as well. And yeah, lots of his I mean, check him out. His comics are he
yeah,
does this kind of thing too. His comics are about himself and just interesting stuff. Yeah, good. I'll check out Logic and we'll do like a cultural exchange.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
listen to Jeffrey
exactly.
Lewis and I'll listen to the guys you
Oh,
recommended.
actually, that's a good point with cultural exchange. Um,
Mm.
I want to bring up. So, I'm out in at let me rewind. I'm out in Los
Mhm.
Angeles for college,
Uh,
and I was just it was an insane experience. But
mhm.
2 nights ago or 2 days ago, I got a crazy chance to go to one of these Grammy Week events with Young Blood. I don't know if you know, he's like a rock
Yeah,
slash
no,
punk artist
famous
from
England.
yeah
Yeah.
from England, and he was like talking with a British accent this whole time, giving this master class, and he used I listened to all of it or could understand all of it. He used one British slang term that I just didn't know what it meant, other than the context he said it in. So
Mhm.
I understood the spirit of it, but I want to see if I can say it to you and you can kind of translate for me. So he was
Okay.
he was talking about like early days of making music and showing it to friends and family and stuff. And sometimes your friends will be and hopefully it's not like a naughty thing that I'm saying, but
Uh,
uh slagging off on you or slogging off on you. What
slagging it off. Yeah,
slagging?
yeah.
So
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
slagging
slagging
off. And like they'll slag. What does that mean?
It's like, yeah, if you slag something off, you're saying bad things about it, right? So like,
Okay, okay,
if your friend paid you a record and you were slagging it off, you wouldn't like it. You know, oh, that's shit. Oh, I can swear, right? Yeah, oh, like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
yeah, that's like, slagging it off is like, it's being rude about something, slagging it
Hmm.
off. Yeah, that's true. I don't even think
Okay,
that's to me that's like a normal thing to say. I was slagging it off. That's
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah, yeah,
obviously
yeah.
with
Being
like
rude
the
about it.
context of the way he said it, I was like, okay, they're probably teasing him or talking trash or
Yeah.
whatever
Talking
it
trash.
is.
Talking
But I
trash
had
is
never heard like the phrase before, and I was like, okay, I have no clue what that means for sure.
it's a bit more than yeah. Slagging off is like being quite rude about something. Yeah.
Gotcha. If you love live music and going to concerts, you need to get yourself some Loop earplugs. I made a video on my second YouTube channel about Loop earplugs. I did a review for them by bringing them to a concert, and they were the best earplugs I've ever used. They do a great job at blocking out crowd noise, but still allowing you to hear the music. They come in this tiny, very portable case. You can see it's like a fraction of the size of my hand. Plus, they just look awesome. I got the ones that they did in collaboration with the Tomorrowland Music Festival, and they look awesome. They say live, love, unite on them. You can see they're in a cool circular design, so even when you have them in, you don't just have this big block plugging up your ears. There's a nice ring, makes it look a bit more stylish than normal earplugs. I have the Loop Experience 2s in collaboration with Tomorrowland, and even with the earplugs themselves, they sent me 4 sizes of tips. Extra small, small, large, and medium is already loaded in there. So there's plenty of customization. It should fit your ears no matter what with one of those sizes. Use my referral code in the description to get 15% off your pair of Loop earplugs. Back to the episode. With all this talk also about like early career days, getting a start, going all the way back to even before Art Brut, you were in a group called the Art Goblins.
Mhm.
So and with just like from what I was hearing, crazy live shows. Tell me about
Yeah.
that kind of era or that band.
Yeah, well, that's when I was at school, really. I started the Art Goblins when I was about 16, in the common room. I mean, like I said, I've always wanted to be in a band, and it was around about the Art Goblins time when I thought, well, I'll just be the lead singer then. And the first Art Goblins show was the Art Goblins. I sort of forget what a stupid name is. The first Art Goblins show, saying it with great authority, was it was me and my friend Dave, who called himself Bob Oblivion, beer poet, and our friend Steve, who I think was just called Steve, on guitar, and we took it in turns. He was like singing, and I was talking over it and improvising, and I played the Hoover, and I did like an improvisation about being scared of different things, and it went surprisingly well. I don't know why it went like I thought it was going to be a disaster. We didn't really rehearse. I
Well,
played the Hoover at one point.
I
Dave was
was
wearing
gonna
a
say
white
because that's
coat.
the main thing that I read that you were playing a
I was playing the
vacuum
Hoover.
cleaner, a Hoover. How does that work? How do you play a Hoover?
Yeah, well, there's different settings. So there's like curtains, hard floor, deep piled. Yeah, and you
Yeah.
go between the two different things. When we played acoustically, I used to play the dustpan and brush. The, but yeah, so it was. that was I did that. I played the Hoover in that show too, and I had a book of spells. So I'd written some lyrics in it, like always making the lyrics at the last minute, and um, and I think it was so odd. I think that people didn't know what to make of it, and it was pop. People liked it, and then so I immediately booked us another gig and like added more people, and we planned it better this time, and that show was shit. It was like awful. Like I left halfway through, I stopped off in a half, and it was like a nightmare. It was like dreadful and just awful. And so the band broke up for a second, and then when I've been adding people to the band, I added this guy Jasper, my friend Jasper, who I just met, and then we carried on the Art Goblins, and it became a bit more poppy, and it became what it became really. So it became like a sort of, we'd say vaguely experimental Britpop band, but we were just I don't know what it was. It was like yeah, I don't know. I mean, I carried on playing the Hoover. I would escape from a sack. I had a sack I would escape from on stage. We had a dance routine we did in slow motion in one of the songs. That was scripted. Yeah, it was quite a strange band. And then the members kept changing because everyone would get old and pass their qualifications and go to university. But I didn't want to go to university. I wanted to be a singer in a band. So I didn't do that. And then eventually I've been for like five different versions of the Art Goblins. And I thought I can't lose another one. So I moved to London with Nicky Biscuit, the keyboard player. And I tried to start an Art Goblins in London, but it didn't really work. And then, yeah, and then I met Christian Schiller at a party and we started Art Brut. And actually, Nicky Biscuit from the Art Goblins was in Art Brut for like the first three rehearsals, which is why moving to LA and a song called These Animal Menswear, they're really old. I wrote them when I was about 17. They're like Art
Wow.
Goblin songs.
Yeah.
So it's and they just became Art Brut songs because Nicky Biscuit was in the band for a second. So
That's
yeah, moving
awesome.
to LA and These Animal Menswear are like I wrote them when I was very young. But
Yeah. Well, and so you mentioned a bit ago also painting. When we were talking before recording this, you said yeah, we're recording this on a Sunday. You were like, Sundays are my painting days. I just all day I'm here painting. And I read that I don't know if you still do, so correct me if I'm wrong, but that you used to take commissions painting like people's favorite cover arts, or people could get you to do cover arts. What kind of gave you that idea? Well, I have a couple questions, but I'll start with that. What gave you that idea? Or what was like? How was that experience when you were
Yeah,
doing that?
well, I can't remember. Originally, the plan was to do it to like kickstart something, a book or a comic or something I had an idea for.
Hmm.
And then I was like a dad, right? So I was like exhausted and didn't have much time. So I thought, I won't do that. Whatever it was I was going to make, a book or a comic or I don't
Yeah,
know what it was. I'll just do the painting thing. It's because I was sick of like, you always read these lists, people's favorite album lists, best albums in the world ever and stuff. And it's always the same culprits. It's the
yeah.
Beach Boys, Pet Sounds, it's whatever, it's the
Abbey
Beatles,
Road.
blah blah blah. Yeah, all
Yeah,
that, blah blah. It's don't want to read it, like I'm bored of that. So I started thinking, what do other people? I mean, the man on the street, not David Quantick or some writer, Paolo Hewitt. Like what is this, people, what are people's favorite records? And why. And then yeah, so I just thought and I love painting, and I love writing about music, so I thought I can just put it all together. So I just started doing commissions of I'll listen to the album over and over again while I paint it, and I'll send you a review and the painting. So
that's
I mean,
awesome.
I started this
Yeah.
10 years ago. I've done about 600 or 700 now. I've done a lot,
Well,
and
yeah,
it's kind of changed the way I think about music really. Like to begin with, I thought I'd be mean, But, people ask me to paint Radiohead or something. I'd be like, haha, you're an idiot. This is terrible. Do you know what I mean? But, I can see why you fell in love with this record. You're both idiots.
yeah,
But then people were like asking me, oh, yeah, this is me and my wife fell in love with this song. Or, the stories. They're telling me the stories
yeah,
and I thought, I can't be mean then. I can't. It's not nice. So I
yeah,
intentionally listen to the records and try and look for what people like in it and what I like. Now, what's good about this? What do I enjoy about this record? So every time they only get good reviews, so I only write about what I liked about it. So I've listened to what 600 albums now, and every time I've thought to myself, what is good about this? What do I like about this? And I think it's just changed the way I listen to music. I used to get so angry about bands, like, oh, that's rubbish. Why
yeah,
are they doing that? This is wrong. I think Spin Magazine called me indie Witchfinder General because I was like always like giving out about lyrics and stuff, and I didn't be doing that. And my personality was a bit like that, abrasive and like telling
Yeah.
people off and bands off and stuff. And I think, 10 years, 600 records, always looking for like the nice, good thing to say about it. It sort of rewired my brain a bit, so I'm not like that anymore. So
Yeah.
whenever I hear music now, I sort of try and find, yeah, what do I like about this? It's a much more fun game than hating on
Yeah.
something. It's easy to hate
I
stuff,
I
right?
have well, I have a similar thing that got me into like made me stop kind of just hating on or disrespecting
Mm.
music that honestly I had not really like listened to or anything. A
Yeah.
big thing, um, how I'll even be doing it later today
Mm.
is every year I'm so interested in the Grammys, and inevitably every year there are so many awards that I'm like that shouldn't have won. They shouldn't have like they should have, and then it's always like a split between what I think should win and what actually
Mm.
wins. But probably I want to say 4 or maybe even 5 years ago, just around slash just before the pandemic, I
Mm.
started a thing of every year I would try to, and I'm like half an album behind this year, but I would try to listen completely through all of the album of the year nominations for the
Oh
Grammys.
wow.
And it
Mm.
was a big thing of, and I know like movie fans do it of like watching all the best picture nominations, things like that. Because I kept being like, oh, I don't think that should win, or some
Uh-huh.
pop artist would get nominated, and I'm like, oh, I don't really like their music. I don't know why they're nominated. And like I think basically every year that I've done it, there's at least one album that I go in expecting not to like, and then I'm like, okay,
Mm.
wow, this is actually really good, and like I see why it's nominated.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah, man,
was
that's such a nice way of doing it.
yeah, yeah, that was a
That's
big
really
thing
cool.
for me this year with I mean all credit to her, Sabrina Carpenter's album Man's Best
Mm.
Friend. I was like I had only really heard Man Child from it, the big
Mm.
single. I'd heard her song Espresso from the album before and listened through that album, but I was like, okay, it's all I get it. Like it's all girly pop stuff. But
Yeah.
I listened through this album and just the production on it is awesome. They have like strings going as well as just like modern pop elements. It's really cool. It's all around one theme, which is big for me in an album. It's not just like a random assortment of songs. It's all around something. And I was like, okay,
Nice.
this is actually like a really good album. I wouldn't be upset if this won album of the year in this year.
Ah,
So
you've sold me on it. I'm gonna go listen to it now. Maybe I'll paint
yeah,
it.
you can
Yeah.
listen to
Yeah.
that. It's like I think my top picks this year are that GNX by Kendrick Lamar, just because I'm a big
Mm.
rap fan, and Mayhem, the Lady Gaga record is awesome.
Yeah, I've heard none
But
of those. Those three. My son likes Kendrick Lamar, so I should
mhm.
check it out for that reason. But all right, I'm gonna go and listen to these too and see what I think of
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
It's funny they're
awesome.
saying that about like how you changed your mind with Sabrina Carpenter because I started the whole album painting thing to like get away like other people's opinions and blah blah. But it's always the Beach
Yeah,
Boys, all this kind of thing. And
yeah.
ironically, after painting all these records, the one that I've loved the most of everything that I've painted, I never heard before, is Wild Honey by the Beach Boys. So it's gone for like oh, it
You're
turns out the Beach
like,
Boys are
oh,
pretty
maybe
good.
there is something to this record.
Yeah, maybe those Beach Boys are okay. But yeah, it's funny. It was like, oh, damn it. But
Have
also that
you?
record's a bit different than other Beach Boys records. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's funny. That's how I
Whether for
ended.
someone else or just in your own like painting that you like to do, have you ever painted an Art Brew album cover?
Yeah, I painted. Well, I did a thing a few years ago where I painted lots of different copies of all of them. I think you could order them, and I paint a little painting of the cover, and I wrote some lyrics. I think every record I did 12 or whatever, how many songs there are. So everyone that likes the record got one with a lyric. Should do that again, actually. It was
Hmm.
a good idea. I like doing that. Yeah, and I listened to it for the first time for like a blog. Someone commissioned me to paint Bang Bang Rock and Roll for their blog, and I sent it to them. So yeah, I mean, it's fun. I mean, our records. I don't really like painting faces. I think they're distracting. And our first record is just a load of faces. So that's quite hard. Someone commissioned me to paint Bang Bang Rock and Roll big. It's like I've done it like I think it's 100 by 100 or 70 by 70 centimeters, and it looks great.
Wow.
And then I don't know what happened to them. They vanished. So they paid me, and I keep saying to them, "Pick it up," and they don't reply to my emails, and it's I don't know. So it's in my friend Keith's house. So if they're listening to this podcast and they go, "Oh yeah, that was me," get, get in touch.
If
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 there's a big
if
painting,
somehow you're the person who forgot about a massive blow up
painting,
version of the Bang
the
Bang
Bang Bang
Rock and
Rock and
Roll
Roll,
album,
it's
go
there.
go pick it up.
Go pick it
Yeah.
up. It's in Camden. It's at Keith's house. But yeah, let's
Well,
see.
I'm super excited now. This year, the Grammys added a new category for best cover art of like best,
Ah,
and so I'm excited to see. I forget some of the nomination. I think the only nomination I remember is the Bad Bunny album with the two chairs and like a in a yard. But I want to refresh myself on the nominations, and I'm excited to see like who wins and even just like the future of that category because there's so much cover art of albums that I love and is like actual art. Like I've some albums I listen to, I was like, this should be in a museum, you know. um,
yeah. Well, I think also, I think a bit of my painting is a bit of that because when I was younger, I mean, I'm very old now. When I was young, people would buy, you have your CD collection on show, you'd have your records out. People would
mhm.
flick through them and look at them. And people don't really have that anymore, not so much. They have like, they have streaming services and stuff.
Well, and
But I think
yeah,
if you want to show off your music collection, get a painting, as opposed to because you don't have a physical thing anymore. I think there's
yeah.
a bit of that, but maybe also the people that buy paintings from me are the sort of people that would have record collections anyway. So I don't know. But
Well, a
it's
big thing
sad that.
nowadays also is I don't know if you have it, the app Discogs that can like keep track of your vinyl and CD collection. It's no longer, oh, let me come to your house and like flip through the vinyl you have. It's like, oh, do you have Discogs? And you send me your profile, and then you're like scrolling this list of albums.
Ah. Yeah, I only use Discogs to buy things. Sometimes I'm
Mhm,
painting records that I can't find, and I buy them to paint them. So it's
mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's good. Yeah, I mean I love painting records. I'm so busy this year with touring and stuff that I don't think I have time. I'm painting a Momus album for someone at the moment, and that might be the last one for a little while, I think.
Mhm.
Um,
So
don't
in
know.
terms of Art Brut, in terms of music, do you have, because I mean, now, 20 years, 25 years, do you have a, like, do you have a deep cut song that you think people should know? Or do you have like a song that's really one of your favorites, but maybe a lot of people don't really know about it or haven't heard it?
Yeah, a little bit. Well, when I made when we did the box set, we made this vinyl, and the vinyl's supposed to be like a best of, but it's not.
Mhm.
It's me choosing my favorite songs. I mean, some of my favorite songs
I
line
mean,
up
that's
with.
cooler though to me instead of like,
Yeah,
with all this number like streaming and stats nowadays, like I can more or less see a best of. I can just see what sold like streamed the most or is the because that's
yeah,
really what a best of thing is. But
yeah,
but it's cool that it's like an Eddie's favorites vinyl.
yeah. I tried to find a compromise. I love From the Band and Emily Kane and My Little Pony,
Yeah,
etc. So that mean that of course they're on there. But like as you get towards the end, it's a bit more like there's like a 20-minute version of Modern Art on the vinyl, and
that's
there's
awesome.
a, there's a song I like called Just Desserts by Art Brut, and another one called Unprofessional Wrestling that I really wanted to be singles at the time, but the band's Democratic, right? So it didn't work out, and they didn't really fit on the record. They're from the Brilliant Tragic kind of era, and they're not really like that record, so they were just B-sides in the end. And I love the fact I've put them on vinyl now. So yeah, Just Desserts is a song about my relationship with food, I guess. And unprofessional wrestling is about losing your virginity. But yeah, I really like both of those songs. We're playing unprofessional wrestling a lot at the moment live because Art
Awesome.
Brut, Art Brut are no longer a democracy.
Yeah.
Art Brut now, I'm in charge of Art Brut, and it's yeah. So we do it. That's where all the best stuff came from too. It's like, oh, I'm steering the ship.
Well, I'm hoping to see you guys on this tour, so hopefully I can hear
Yeah.
unprofessional
We will definitely play
wrestling.
unprofessional wrestling. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And if people put things on the Instagram, we hardly ever play in America. So I'm trying my best. People are like saying under the Instagram post, "I'll play this." I'm gonna try and play. I mean, some of them are saying play this, and it's songs that are on Bang Bang Rock and Roll. It's like, well, we're gonna play that, but like,
Yeah,
it's yeah. I'm gonna try and like keep everybody happy. It's in my
that's
nature. I'm a
awesome.
people pleaser.
Yeah. There's one of a really cool band. Actually, it was one of the first times I had seen a band live without really knowing them beforehand.
Mhm.
They're a band coming up, and they have like midway through their concert, they more like an acoustic thing. It's like acoustic guitar, they're all just there, and they're talking about they hit the point in their career. Sorry, can you hear me?
Okay, now you're gone. You're crackling
Okay.
again. You're back. You're back. It's okay.
Okay, sorry. But they were talking about they hit the point in the career where they have so many songs, it's hard to come up with set lists for concerts and like what to play, what not to play. So they, at least for when I had seen them live, they stopped halfway through the show for this acoustic set and they just talk to the crowd and they go, okay, who has a song they want to hear? And they just like ask
Mm.
people in the crowd and someone will say, oh, play, this song. And they're like, all right. And then they'll like get together, play that one live. So it takes, well, it's a mix of one, helping them like deal with the stress of what to play and what not to play, but also you don't have to like go to a concert and feel bummed out that they didn't play your favorite song. It like
But
gives
I
you.
used to do the same thing with when Art Brut was like the
Mhm.
core band that wrote all the songs. It's a different lineup now a little bit, so they don't know everything. But when it
Yeah,
was like Art Brut that wrote the records, Art Brut, the first four at least, the I would do that, any requests, and people would
that's
sometimes
awesome.
say really obscure B-sides, and I'd be like, yeah, let's go. And the Art Brut maybe only played that song twice, like to record it, and they'd be like, Eddie, we
Yeah.
don't know. Like, no, we're doing it. Let's go. But I like that sort of. I thrive off chaos a little bit. And also I kind of forget it's harder to be a musician. I can just
Well,
ad lib and
I was
bluff.
about to say it's easy for you. You just have to remember the words, to remember the lyrics. They
Yeah, and
you
not
have to know
even
how to
that.
play it.
Yeah, it's so yeah. I mean, I used to do that a lot. I think we did a show in New York where I think I did everything was a request for a bit. I think
Wow,
so.
awesome.
So yeah, I mean, I like that. I just can't do it. Like they don't. This version of Art Brut doesn't know I can do that with B-sides and stuff. I
Hmm.
don't think.
Yeah. Well, it's still awesome that you're coming back to America for the tour. You're playing live in general and touring uh with this 20th anniversary thing. Do you have just in general a bucket list of like venues or festivals you would want to play live at one day?
I think we've done all the ones that I mean, I'd like to do them all again. Do you mean I liked? It was
Yeah.
fun playing it. It was fun playing at the Pitchfork Festival and Coachella, Glastonbury. We've done all the ones that I think are on people's lists. We never got to play Lollapalooza because we had to choose between Lollapalooza and Pitchfork, and we chose Pitchfork
Mm.
because the Mountain Goats were playing and the Silver Jews were playing and the
Yeah.
Aztec was playing. I want to play that festival with
That
them.
makes sense.
So
Yeah,
it's
about that, what was the decision making process between
yeah, that
but
was
you
the
just
decision
answered
making.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to this one. So, and then another time we couldn't do it for some reason too. And we play in Chicago so much. So maybe Lollapalooza, but I think you know, that's the one I've not ticked off of my list. I don't
Hmm.
even know. Does it still exist, Lollapalooza? It must do. There's one in
No,
Berlin, but it's
I
terrible.
do. It's um yeah, I think they do it. I don't know if it changes based on where it is, but they'll do it like all over the world. They have like a Lollapalooza Chicago, they have a Lollapalooza, I think even Brazil one. Like they
I
do it
guess
all over.
if I want to play, if I want to play Lollapalooza, I probably shouldn't go on your podcast and say how terrible Lollapalooza is. It's probably a
Well,
different line.
to be fair, you didn't say how terrible they were. You were talking about how just Pitchfork had such a good,
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay.
lineup, then you pick them. So hopefully, just Palooza up their game and be even better.
Yeah,
And
we'll
part
come
of
back.
upping their
Lollapalooza either put on
game,
the Mountain Goats, and then we'll come and play
yeah,
for them.
part of upping their game would be getting our Brood on the lineup.
Yeah,
That's a major
exactly.
upgrade.
It's the last one to tick off my list. Yeah.
So I started off saying this, and it's how I got into the first song I heard was formed the band. If there's someone listening to this who hasn't heard Art Brut, hasn't listened to you guys, what would you recommend as like a first listen or a way to get into the band?
I'd say, yeah, probably form the band, right? I think um, that's the one. It sort of lays it all out on the line. It's a good introduction to us, I would say. And the B-side from Bad Weekend was the original B-side to that. I think as a as a single, that's a really good introduction to the band, I would say. So yeah, and then Emily Kane, and then maybe my favorite records of ours, if I'm allowed to have favorites, is Art Brut versus
Yes,
Satan,
of
recorded
course.
with Frank Black. and Wham
Yeah.
Bang Pow Let's Rock Out. So I'd say, but they're all good. Stick a, just randomly put your finger in a thing and, on the album
Try
cover,
it out.
and any of them would be
Yeah.
good. Just try it out,
Yeah.
So
And
that's, yeah.
so then the last question I have here is similar to the venue one is if you slash Art Brut got because again now you're the one in charge. It's not a democracy. But
Yeah.
if you got the chance to collaborate with any artist or any band in the world, who would you want to make an Art Brut song with?
Oh, anybody in the world.
Yeah,
Oh, that's hard. Loads of people. Bob
yeah.
Dylan.
You
I
can
think Bob Dylan.
that'd be awesome. Yeah, yeah.
Bob
And
Dylan's my guy.
you can name others if you want. It doesn't literally have to be one, but
No,
like that's
well, I mean, I made a Bob Dylan covers album during lockdown. We just haven't released it.
mm,
I forgot. But I love Bob Dylan, and I think he's like I was telling my girlfriend some of those songs last night and talking to her. And she was like, "Oh, of course, Bob Dylan's a punk. Yeah, Bob Dylan's a punk." So Bob Dylan, yeah, Bob Dylan. I'd like to do a duet with Bob Dylan. I think
yeah.
I'd write the words. It's okay.
That's
I'd help him out. Yeah, it's fine.
that's amazing to have so much music that you can just forget to release a cover album and
Well, it was
and
it was during
yeah, yeah,
lockdown
yeah.
with the people I live with. So they're
It
just,
was more just a project to keep your sanity than like
yeah, it was
to put
that.
out.
It was that. I was listening. We covered Brownsville Girl by Dylan, and that song's 13 minutes long. So that's like
Mhm.
it's good. Yeah. So it's yeah, he's my choice, Bob Dylan, or like someone like if for some reason Bob Dylan isn't possible, then I would go for someone like Abyss is great, The Yummy Fur, like all these kind of bands that I love. Helen Love, like David Devon. Actually, I've done two of those. Yeah, maybe The Yummy Fur. I don't know, like old, Glaswegian bands and Bob
Yeah,
Dylan. I think us, The Yummy Fur, and Bob Dylan would be a great record. Let's do that.
yeah. Awesome, awesome. Well, Eddie, thank you so much for coming on. Those are all the questions I had, but I absolutely loved hearing more about you, the band's history, everything, and just taking this deep dive on Art Brew. Hopefully, one day in the future, you write a song as big as Happy Birthday. Hopefully, next year
Thanks.
at the Grammys, it's Art Brew being nominated for stuff.
Best cover art. That's what I'm after.
Yeah,
Best cover art.
exactly.
That's one.
But
Oh, thank you.
yeah, well, for now, if people are surfing the web, where can they find your wave? Like shout out or
Come,
promote anything you
yeah,
want.
we'll come and see us in America in where are we? April. Come and see us in April. I'll
Hmm.
see you hopefully in Los Angeles.
Yeah, hopefully.
Um, yeah, come and see us. That's important. Then we can come back again and play some more shows. Yeah, I mean, we have a website, artbrut.org, I think, .uk. Um,
It'll be in the description below.
Instagram,
If you're watching this, just go
yeah,
click
all the
it.
things, Instagram, all of that. Just come to my
The
Instagram.
way you sign that after the show without thinking about it, just go click this link. Don't worry about if it's a .org or .com, whatever. Just go click
Just
it.
click the link. Click the link. Don't worry about it. And then come and chat with me about Quirky Detective shows on Instagram or something.